welcome to EllAstrology. In today's video, I'm going to tell you what happens when someone has their natal Saturn in Cancer. Today we're really diving deep, so get ready for an emotional roller coaster. So when Saturn transits through Cancer, collectively, we all feel that we are being guided by our emotions. It's basically when our emotions are our biggest teachers. When Saturn's in Cancer, we don't really look for logical explanations to things, but we'd rather go with what we feel is right. So Saturn is the wise elder. It's the disciplinarian of the zodiac. Saturn comes in and crashes your good time and your party and tells you that there's important responsibilities you need to take care of first. Saturn is what creates limitations and difficulties in our life. So if we feel stuck and if we feel that we cannot move forward or progress with something, it's usually because Saturn is responsible for it. Saturn is basically like that really strict teacher who's incredibly hard on you, but when you look back, you realize that they really taught you so much and they helped you grow and become who you are now. So Jupiter is the planet of growth, but I also see Saturn as a planet of growth because Saturn brings you growth when you overcome the limitations and challenges that it has set out for you. Whereas Jupiter represents growth and luck that just comes to you easily, Saturn shows to you what success you can reach if you do what needs to be done. Saturn doesn't bring you happiness and success just like that. You have to work for it. You have to deserve it. So let's talk about Cancer. Cancer is the zodiac sign that's represented by the moon, and it symbolizes things like emotions, intuition, sensitivity, family, motherly, caring, and nurturing energy. Cancer has a lot of emotional intelligence and also has a very deep and strong connection to their family and their loved ones. Cancers are like the ones you can really go to and talk to about your emotions and who will really get you, understand you, and won't judge you because they understand how emotions work and they understand that everybody feels. So what happens when you mix Saturn's tough love energy with Cancer's emotional and nurturing vibes? At first, it might feel like a clash of worlds. Saturn will challenge the very foundations that Cancer holds dear: home, family, emotional security. If your Saturn is in Cancer, you will find yourself questioning your family roles, reevaluating your emotional boundaries, and even making tough decisions about your living situations consistently. But here's the catch. All these challenges that life presents you in terms of your family and your emotions is all for your own emotional and personal growth. Saturn in Cancer pushes you to confront issues that you'd rather sweep under the rug, but in doing so, it paves the way for deeper emotional connections and a more secure sense of home and family. So those with Saturn in Cancer will start out their life with a lot of emotional immaturity. Gaining control over their own emotions is very difficult in the first portion of their life, but as they age, they gain this emotional wisdom and maturity. So they can start out life being quite erratic, but then as they get older, they find more balanced and harmonious ways to deal with their emotions. With this placement, there is a lot of emphasis on the home and family life. And if the home and family life is not structured correctly, then the Saturn in Cancer individual cannot grow. They cannot become successful. So essentially, their eventual success in life and the things that they'll really be able to accomplish will only come to them when there is peace and harmony between them and their family and in their home life. But the thing is, with this particular placement, this native gets presented with so many difficulties and challenges within their home life that they need to navigate. Part of their karmic purpose is to create a sense of emotional connection and emotional understanding within their family and home dynamic, which is why they have to take on this responsibility. With Saturn in Cancer, this individual will eventually grow to fulfill a very important role within a family dynamic. So they might become the breadwinner eventually. They might become the person who's responsible and in charge of everyone. Because Cancer represents nurturing, caregiving, and motherly instincts, Saturn in Cancer individuals can be some of the most incredibly caring and compassionate individuals. They're the ones who will make you warm tea with honey and ginger when you're feeling ill. They're the ones who will bring you breakfast in bed on your birthday. They're the ones that really go out of their way to think about you and to do thoughtful things for you. But a very important thing I do need to mention is with Saturn in Cancer, all these beautiful traits and qualities that are represented by Cancer usually only come later in life. So early on in life, it's really difficult for these natives to access these qualities. What I mean by this is because Saturn is the restrictor, it's the limiting planet. Whatever sign it falls in, Saturn will restrict the qualities of that planet until the individual or the native learns to overcome the difficulties associated with those lessons. So these people won't have these beautiful, lovely, incredible family lives until they figure out how to become more emotionally aware and how to navigate and deal with the issues in their family. They won't have this incredible emotional awareness of others unless they actually learn conscious and helpful ways to deal with their own emotions. Only once they connect with their own emotions and have an understanding of their own feelings will they be able to do so for others. But however, once they overcome those limitations that causes them to not be able to really understand or connect with their own emotions, they will then have all the strength, all the wisdom, all the experience needed to help others do the same. Saturn in Cancer is really all about balance, and what these individuals need to learn is to balance looking after and nurturing and caring for themselves with looking after, nurturing, and caring for others. Throughout their lives, they'll go to two extremes between these two. They'll either be too focused on themselves, too lost in their own emotional world. All they can see is possibly their pain or what they think and are going through. And when they're in this state, they can not be very considerate of others. And when they're in this state, they do not have the capacity to be very caring and considerate of others. However, the other extreme they can go to is caring so much for other people that they neglect themselves. And when they do this, they become a martyr. They also lose sight of themselves, their independence, their capabilities, and their worth. So essentially, with Saturn in Cancer, it's about a balance of these two things. So Saturn in Cancer can really bring up some intense challenges. We're talking about family drama, emotional baggage, and some really deep-seated fears and insecurities. These individuals are pros at turning family dinners and family gatherings into therapy sessions. These individuals know deep down inside that they need to confront these really unfair, awkward, or toxic family dynamics they may be in. Individuals with Saturn in Cancer or possibly Saturn in their 4th house have more family drama than with Saturn in any other placement. They'll tell you their stories about the things they go through with their family, and you'll just think to yourself, what the hell? This is ridiculous. Essentially, the karma of Saturn in Cancer is difficulties with family. And because Saturn in Cancer individuals are so engulfed, intertwined with, and connected with their families, they really can't disconnect themselves from it. They can't just say, hey, I'm up and out. They know deep down inside that this is what they're destined to deal with. They're destined to deal with the drama of their parents, the drama of their siblings, whatever the case may be. And if they do try and move away from it, and if they try and avoid it, they feel even more uneasy than if they're actually busy dealing with the drama. So yes, the drama and the difficult things that their family brings to them makes them uncomfortable. But not dealing with those uncomfortable things make them feel even way more uncomfortable. It's like such a catch-22 because Saturn in Cancer people constantly say to themselves, I don't want to deal with this, I don't want to deal with these people, I want to leave. But then the moment they leave, they feel so guilty. They feel so bad that they immediately return back to the situation that was in and that they were trying to avoid in the first place. Now, this doesn't necessarily only count for family drama. This can count for friendship drama, relationship drama, or whatever the case may be. These people make incredibly big emotional investments into things, and they can't just leave a situation or leave something. They hold on to people and situations in their life with those crab claws. However, it's not all doom and gloom. There's a silver lining to all these emotional challenges, which is growth. Saturn in Cancer pushes you out of your comfort zone, making you deal with your emotions head on. It causes you to not be able to hide from yourself and your feelings. There's no more sweeping things under the rug. You need to develop emotional maturity and resilience. When you do face the challenges presented with you in regards to your family and your emotions that Saturn brings, you'll gain a much better understanding of your own boundaries, your own emotional needs, and you'll be able to form deeper connections with your loved ones, friends, and other people in the world based on your experience and your insights, even if it takes a few tough conversations and a few difficult situations to get there. So, how do you navigate Saturn in Cancer if you have this in your natal chart? First off, don't shy away from difficult conversations. Open and honest communication is your best friend. Secondly, self-care is crucial. Make sure you take care of yourself emotionally, physically, and mentally, as well as spiritually. Don't forget to nurture yourself. So essentially, the most important thing for Saturn and Cancer folk is to deal with those difficult emotional situations. For such a big portion of their life, they'll hide in that Cancer shell or that crab shell, and they'll avoid all those difficult things. But when they hide in their crab shell, they build and build and build this emotional turmoil. They build this resentment. And when they bubble everything up and they don't actually deal with it, that is when they become their very own poison. Their thoughts and their emotions poisons them and it destroys them. Saturn and Cancer individuals can actually end up with really serious illnesses and terminal diseases later on in their lives if they do not figure out how to process their emotions and have these difficult emotional conversations. This is one sign that really bottles things up a lot. Now the thing is, you might not think that you're bottling things up because Saturn and Cancer individuals can often be so emotional and emotionally expressive, but just hold on. What they're telling you is the mere tip of the iceberg. There's so much going on inside them that they're not sharing, that they feel too scared to share, that they feel unsafe to share, that they feel that no one will really understand them, that no one will really care and provide compassion, that they don't share it. So what you usually see, even though you think this person might be quite emotional, is really just the surface of the ocean. These people can be people pleasers, and because they're people pleasers, they don't want to have these really difficult conversations with other people, but they need to. When they feel like their emotions and their boundaries are being overstepped, they have to speak up for themselves. When they're in unfair, difficult, negative, and toxic situations, they have to say something, because if they don't, they're not learning the lesson of what Saturn is trying to teach them. So with Saturn in Cancer, these people can really feel that their family tests their patience so much. Their moms can be extra clingy. Their siblings can constantly be pushing their buttons. It's like these people feel like they do not have any personal space and people are permanently invading on who they are, their privacy, or their independence. The thing is that Saturn and Cancer individuals are karmically placed here to get their families in order. There might be people in their families who are incredibly emotionally aware, who are incredibly selfish, who completely have the wrong set of values or the wrong vision for the future. And what Saturn and Cancer individuals are here to do is to set things straight. They're here to create beautiful and loving family dynamics and to show us that it's possible to be loved, to feel safe, to feel welcomed, and to just feel good with your family. How many of you don't feel happy in your family dynamic? How many of you might possibly feel like your parents didn't treat you fairly or your siblings didn't treat you fairly? The thing is, with Saturn in Cancer, you're not put here to just accept that this is how things should be. You're put here to fix things, because what is Saturn? Saturn is the fixer. Saturn is the taskmaster. Saturn comes here to make sure that everything runs smoothly, to make sure that everything runs beautifully. So the reason why you're faced with so many challenges within your family is because you're actually here to fix and correct things. That is your destiny. So the more you run away from your destiny, the more you run away from fixing and correcting things within your family dynamic, the more you run away from the lessons Saturn's trying to teach you, and the less emotional maturity you will have, the less emotional awareness you will have, the less compassion you will have. And you'll essentially just be stuck in this deep, dark emotional soup within your own mind and heart. And eventually, your thoughts and your emotions will end up drowning you. So often individuals with Saturn in Cancer finds themselves playing the role of the family therapist, the mediator, or even the black sheep who's challenging the status quo and the traditions of the family. However, even if it's difficult, it's really all part of this Saturn journey. So what Cancer and Saturn individuals can be really good at if they put the effort into it is heart-to-heart conversations with people. Getting other people to open up about their emotions so that there can be a mutual understanding and a mutual sense of growth for everyone. Saturn in Cancer essentially represents some kind of emotional restriction. But once the Saturn in Cancer individuals can overcome their own emotional restriction they place upon themselves or that they feel, they can help others unlock the emotional suppression and restriction within themselves as well. So the Saturn in Cancer individual comes to you and be like, hey, look, I see you're struggling with these things. I've also struggled with these things. Let's figure out a way to get through this. Let's talk. Let it out. When a Saturn in Cancer individual is matured and they've evolved and they've learned and navigated their Saturn challenges, they can bring the most profound level of emotional awareness to others. So what about career and profession? Saturn in Cancer individuals thrive in careers that require caregiving and emotional support. So they do really well in healthcare, social work, and roles involving HR. They also do really well in roles involving children and working with families. But the thing is that Saturn and Cancer individuals struggle to really separate their minds from their emotions. So often their work choices or career choices is very fueled by their emotions. So these people usually go into career paths that they feel is right for them. These people also really struggle to work in a career path that they don't feel good about. If they have a job that they feel uncomfortable in, they will likely quickly make a change. So the big elephant in the room with this placement is work-life balance. With Saturn in Cancer, it becomes a huge theme. These individuals have to juggle career ambitions with family responsibilities, and let me tell you, it's really not easy for them. So these folk are often finding themselves working late, but also feeling really guilty for missing out on family time. This is really one sign that finds it really hard to pursue on their own career, to build their own empire, because they're so focused and distracted by their family. So finding a balance with this is crucial with this placement. If you have Saturn in Cancer, I recommend that you wear or carry a moonstone with you every single day. The reason for this is because a moonstone will actually help balance your turbulent emotions, your turbulent emotional cycles, and it will bring a lot of emotional healing and emotional awareness and compassion to you. So moonstone will actually help you navigate those difficult challenges in your life with your family or with your emotions or with your job or whatever the case may be. So just try it out, trust me. So what happens when someone who has Saturn in Cancer experiences their Saturn return? The Saturn return is when Saturn returns to its original position where it was in the sky and in the zodiac when you were born. If you were born with your Saturn in Cancer, when the transit Saturn enters Cancer, you will then go through your Saturn return. This usually happens every 28 to 30 years. So what happens during this time? Firstly, your emotions are going to go on a throwback tour. You're going to find yourself digging up some really old emotional baggage that you thought you'd buried a long time ago. It'll be heavy, but it's also like an emotional spring cleaning. You get to do over stuff you maybe didn't handle so well the first time around. Family drama will become front and center during your Saturn return. Old issues will pop up like uninvited guests, and you might start missing the good family vibes and traditions. If you have moved away or separated yourself from your family, during your Saturn return, you will be pushed to return and to fix things. During Saturn return, your living space will change. You will get the urge to rearrange your furniture, and you'll even question where you live. This is a time when it's all about figuring out what home really means to you. Regarding your job, you're going to ask yourself, is this really want? You'll have a career check-in to make sure that you're not just grinding away for a paycheck, but actually doing something that really makes you happy and connects with your heart. You might have trust issues during a Saturn return in Cancer. You'll be really cautious about who you open open up to. Your emotional guard goes up to a whole nother level. And you're also double checking all your feelings before you're actually letting them out and expressing them. So to conclude this video, if you have Saturn in Cancer, remember that the needs of your family and the needs of your loved ones are not more important than your own. But at the same time, finding a way to work together with your loved ones so that your own emotions as well as their own emotions are heard is super crucial to you. Feeling like you belong and feeling like you're connected to your family can be a struggle. But really, once you overcome these emotional limitations and these relational limitations within your life, you can create a safe haven, a place where your loved ones can be real, authentic, and vulnerable. And you can also create a place where you can be your true and happiest self. I wrote an ebook about Saturn. If you're interested in doing a really deep dive into Saturn and what it's all about, consider checking out my ebook. My ebook is called Saturn's Impact on Your Life Path. In this ebook, I go into detail as to how you can navigate your Saturn challenges. I'll add the link to it in the description to this video if you'd like to check it out. So let me know in the comments what you thought of this video. Do you have Saturn in Cancer and do you go through similar experiences that I described? Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and please subscribe to my channel if you're new and you have not already. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you next time. Goodbye.